I think some other things that you can think about as well is data storytelling and how to tell the story of the data the proper way. This is something that I had to start picking up myself as a business owner in this space, that wasn't traditionally trained to be like a data analyst or data data storyteller. But there's a great book that I picked up. It's called Effective Data Storytelling by Brent Dykes, and it really breaks down some of the elements of kind of delivering that message. So maybe it could be how you tell the story of the data. Maybe it could be, like you said, having that practice or being able to kind of come up with those habits of going into the tool, looking for this, looking for that. Maybe there's some other, ways that you can leverage some of the generative AI tools now to help you do desk research and things like that. But making yourselves useful and not dying, not letting your idea die or just stay siloed within your department, I think is the best advice that I pull for what you're saying. And really, like you said, know your numbers and know your stuff, because again, once you can provide that insight, it becomes valuable. Then leadership, your bosses, those people start to depend on that information coming from you. And now you can get budget, you can get bandwidth, you can get what you need to kind of pull these things off. Because as you mentioned, Kathleen, these things can take a long time, right? Even when you have great tools, you can spend some time doing it. So I love that. Let's flip it around, because we're gonna come back to some marketing stuff right towards the end. But I want to talk about that other side of this space that we know that some of our colleagues could be in, and that is around, you talked about owning that department or owning this program and building it from the ground up. But what happens if you're actually coming in as a consultant, or you're only temporary building this up to hand off to someone who is just now learning social intelligence, or a greener organization in the space, right? What type of challenges or areas should you think about if you're going to be in the position of building this up for someone else and passing it off? And how do you create stickiness so that when it's passed off, it's still used?
Yeah, no, those are really good challenges. Those are good challenges to bring up. Right? Like I really had to, when I shifted from, going from owning to then being a consultant for the last year and a half or so, it definitely was a mind shift for me. But what I found was really interesting, and I think that many enterprise companies are facing this, is that they see the importance of social intelligence, which is great. So they're allocating some monies for it, right? Which is also great. But what they don't do is they don't kind of go all the way with it. And what I mean is that they don't necessarily hire somebody who is a professional in social intelligence, because back to the top of our conversation, social media is under this umbrella. My kids do it, my cousin does it. Everybody kind of has these assumptions about social media and not understand that social intelligence, it's its own practice, and it has its own methodologies and experience that you need to know. There is some crossover from social publishing and engagement with intelligence, but ultimately they're different practices. So there's a challenge when you have a company we've got social intelligence and we've opened it up to the whole entire company, and that's great. And they're like, we had everybody take the 1 hour training that the platform offers for all new users, and to expect somebody to, with this whole new way of thinking and this whole other approach, to be able to successfully build Boolean queries and to actually understand the data that they're looking at. And then mostly they don't, but then how do they find those insights, right? And so what happens ultimately is things get built, things get used, don't have a lot of successes. People start going, that's social intelligence. That we don't need it. That's a waste of money. It's a waste of time, because they didn't do it all the way, right? Mm-hmm. Like I wouldn't buy a car without tires, but a lot of companies buy cars without tires. And mm-hmm. So that's really frustrating. So I've come into organizations where I'm driving a car without tires. I have to come and create the tire and put it on and show them how to drive it with the tires on. So, it's what you were saying, like I'm a marketing person that fell into analytics, right? Like that wasn't what I was thinking I was going to be doing when I graduated college, that's for sure. So, in a weird way, it's been very helpful that I love analytics, but I have marketing background, so I know
Right.
how to marketing speak. I know the language, so that
Mhm.
helps me be a translator a little bit. So coming in, to, to other organizations, you have to be careful because, this is personal for other people as well, right? They've put a lot of time and energy into it. But I think that if you come from the perspective of like, okay, I'm not going to own this, but what I'm going to do is empower this group, these folks to be able to do some of this work themselves, then,
Mhm.
then that's some satisfaction, right? And what I found is that by giving them some of these tools, and I'll get to how they can kind of leverage that after I'm gone, after I'm not there anymore. But it's really that not just to show them how it really could or should be for them and the power that they can get from it, right? So now, like, I am giving you some time and energy, and I'm going to show you, like, exactly, like, this is why you don't put owned and earned together. This is why, like, if you want to look at just healthcare physicians versus the whole world, this is how you do it. So I took the time to understand, like, where the grievances were, to be honest with you. This wasn't my full-time job, and now all of a sudden I got to do this, and I only got 10 minutes a day. And it's a hard position to be in when that's not something that you signed up to do, but all of a
Right.
sudden it's what you have to do. And then somebody from the outside is going to come in and then lead. So, like what I said before, this thread of like listening, right? Like, I want to know, like, what are your challenges? What are you trying to do? What are your stakeholders asking of you? And let's work together to refine what you have. Like, not, just scrap it, but like, let me show you how to refine this and give them tools. And what I learned took me a couple months in of being a consultant, but now what I do is, with everybody's permission, re-record our sessions, because one day my contract will be up and I will not be here to ask those questions to. But if everything is recorded, they have the ability to go back to those recordings and go, oh, when I asked Kathleen this, or oh, when I was trying to only look at, quote tweets, how do I do that? I mean, yeah, you could try and look at the tool, but like, here's the video, like, and I actually am giving you an example of your data of how to do it in your tool of record.
Right.
And I think that help. I'm not going to say it's not challenging, Khalil, because you are like an
Mhm.
outsider coming in. So some people look at like, oh, thank goodness for the help, and others are like, I don't know what she's doing here, but this is taking up my time, and I don't have enough time as it is. So those things will happen, but I do think that it sounds so corny, but listening really in all aspects of your job is the most important part of being
Mhm.
successful in social intelligence. And then taking what you heard with your ears and then applying it and having that lens. And then really like demonstrating that through your actions and the video recordings of the trainings and sharing that with them. I think that was impactful. It is hard to like build things, give it away, and I'm hoping that they look at the videos and they maintain it in the way that I've showed them. They
Mhm.
may not, but like they have this opportunity now. And so I also leave parting gifts. So my parting gifts are, here's how to templatize some of this stuff, because you guys are not social intelligence practitioners and you're not doing this full time. Here's a way to be able to do this a little easier, to manage it. And that's the other thing. A lot of these companies don't have any governance around the program. It's just a tool and everybody have at it and good luck. And when there's no governance around it, like, we need parameters, right? We're human beings and we need rules of the road for certain things. Doesn't mean that you can't cross over the lines, but I need to at least have some lines to start with. And then I know if I should cross them or not.